Hello everyone. And before introducing myself, I would wish that everyone is keeping safe and healthy in these tough times and challenging times. And when I came across this, I feel that it's a very good platform. And while we are home and while we are, running out of so much frustration and hearing so many bad news every day, almost every day, we get an update. So it's always good to entertain and engage yourselves in such sessions. And I've always done that. So before beginning, I am a practicing lawyer and based out of Delhi, enrolled with the Bar Council of Delhi. So I practice in Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, and other tribunals. I have always also been vocal about the cause of legal empowerment of women. I've been speaking on this on various national, international forums like even University of Oxford and London School of Economics. I recently went to. Uh, Currently, I am part of Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas, and being part of one of the top-notch firm, I am fortunate to be part of some of the biggest litigation in terms of value and also significance. So yes, I mean I look forward to this session very much.
Great, great. So, ma'am has introduced herself, and now, ma'am, as you have given us such a stellar introduction, we would also be interested in knowing your journey as a lawyer, like why you came into law and why did you choose to master in litigation and things like that.
See, if you personally ask me, it's law has been something that has romanticized me since childhood. I would say that I've born and brought up seeing the legal books and seeing the conferences, and maybe somewhere down the line, I wanted to do this. So while I was in standard ninth or tenth standard, I started, reading law books and just getting a taste of it, that what exactly the subjects look like. And when I, of course, came in college, my primary motive was to experience everything. So that is something that I did in college because I was not sure whether I want to litigate or whether I would end up becoming a judge or whether I would want join a corporate setup. So for that, the best way I figured it out was through internships and was through practical exposure. So once I did that, I got an idea as to okay, exactly what I want to do. And there are certain factors which motivated my interest to do law. First, being, of course, it involves analytical thinking, which I think I was quite motivated by it. Secondly, I feel there's no other profession which gives you so much independence and autonomy as law, because I mean, and also you have the liberty of thoughts, and also you have the independence so much so that even in the apex court, if you disagree on a viewpoint, if you disagree on anything, you have very much independence to tell even the judge of the Supreme Court that, okay, Lordship, this is my opinion, basis this. So I think this profession, frankly, gives you so much of liberty which no other profession gives you.
Okay, got it. Great, great story, ma'am. So, ma'am, before right away jumping into the main intricacies of litigation and uh, uh, how to develop that kind of repertoire that is expected from a good litigator, I would like to ask that after this lovely story, after we know that what are the things lovable about litigation, let us discuss what are the tasks that constitute the major work for litigators, like uh, like preparing arguments, briefings, yeah, these sorts of
Right.
things.
See, I would say that litigation is something that needs a multidimensional approach. So, multidimensional approach in the sense that a person has to learn the task of, doing many things simultaneously or being a multitasker. A litigator is expected to network himself. A litigator is expected to brief, to handle the arguments, argue himself, to handle drafting, everything. I mean, from scratch, he has to do everything. So he is expected to do everything in one go. And that is something that a person has to learn while he enters litigation. And that happens simultaneously with everyone. Gradually, somewhere or the other, a person learns, but that is, I think, the foremost skill of a litigator. Secondly, if you ask me, then one of the most important skills of a litigator would be, of course, a person should learn how to listen, because once you don't know the facts, you have to listen to the client patiently. You need to know the entire story before delving into the case or the merits of the matter. So I would say that it's very important to know what the case is, what the facts are, and for that it's very important to learn to listen to what he is saying. Secondly, I would say that in the initial journey of a lawyer, it's also very important not to, show disinterest towards these minute tasks like maybe taking printouts or maybe researching on a particular proposition. So all of these things, one or the other way, it helps. So I think a person needs to be very, very sure about it, and a litigator has to. Uh, you can't, shred away from any kind of work. So maybe you will be involved in arguing, but if you are asked to prepare a brief, you will also have to do that. So all of that has to be done.
Okay. There is some noise from your background, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah, we can hear some songs because no participant can unmute themselves and everyone is on mute. So okay, let's forget it. Yeah, people are fine with it. So ma'am, okay, great. So from this answer, what I have deduced is one task is that litigators are expected to be multitaskers. They need to
Right.
handle the client's arguments and briefs all at the same time and yet perform and nail in each and every one of them. First is this. Second was
See,
the major task that a litigator do. Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
as I suggested, that it's very important for a litigator to learn to listen to the client, to know the entire story,
yeah,
to delve into the facts, because facts of the case are very, very important. Sometimes the judge would, before even going to what the law says, they would ask you the facts of the case. So I think for that, you have to know what exactly the story is. So while you entertain into discussions or conferences with the client, it's very important to know exactly from scratch each and everything, even the minutest detail you have to keep a note on. Even I think a little bit of outbox thinking is required, because if you apply your mind even beyond law or even beyond what the regulation says, it sometimes lead to big solutions. And I have personally acknowledged in many of my matters. So I think that's very important.
okay. So catering the clients and understanding their problems and uh, out of the box thinking,
Right.
which can lead to legal solutions and more amicable solutions and more efficient legal solutions. These are
Correct.
the tasks expected from a litigator majorly.
Precisely, right. And also, I would say that don't shred away from, doing these minute tasks like while you are expected to prepare a brief or maybe take out printouts and everything.
Yeah.
And I think I would advise the youngsters to entertain into discussions with their seniors. If you have a viewpoint on a matter while there are internal conferences going on in a matter, you should always raise your concerns that, okay, this is something that I personally feel about this. This is my viewpoint. So I think a person should never shred away from doing that as well.
Yeah, yeah, precisely, ma'am. So do having respect for the grunt work as well. That no work is small. If I've asked to take some printouts, if I've asked to make some photocopies or put some annexures, then that is also the part of the work.
Correct.
And by doing this, we also get full ownership of the work.
Mhm.
Like what happens in tier one law firms, there are always A0 associates and paralegals to assist you. That's why you never uh, open your mind enough to learn these small things which can give you a good understanding of the work. But in the independent litigators and uh, like under whom you have practiced, under whom you
Right.
have learned so much, that is not the case there. So that is something which we have to keep in mind while stepping into the field of litigation. So great answer, ma'am. So ma'am, coming to my next question. We have learned so much. Okay, so sorry. So, ma'am, according to you, is it possible for law students to start his independent practice right after the college, and provided that he has interned it diligently in college and understanding the concepts of litigation well? Or is it an indispensable proposition that you must learn under a senior lawyer for the first few years, then only your independent practice will succeed?
See, I would say that it's a personal choice, and given the circumstances of every individual. I would say it's really a personal choice. There's no harm joining or starting your independent practice right away. But at the same time, I would say that there are people who prefer working with a senior counsel or working in a law firm before starting off independently. So I think it totally depends on the circumstances of a person. Certain areas which I would like to reflect on this is that, of course, you need to ensure your stability in this profession, because in the initial years of practice, it's a fact that there's no money in litigation. So you have to ensure your survival. If you are able to survive in those initial years, then well and good. I mean, there's no harm starting. I know like a lot of people who've just started off and they're doing fabulous in their career. So it's a personal choice dependent on the circumstances, I would say. But yes, you have to get hold on certain skills. A person should, self analyze himself before taking that decision. And I would say that largely depends on certain aspects, that if you're able to take independent decisions, if you're able to issue technical legal advice to your client, if you're able to argue your matter independently, if you have all of these skills, then there's no harm absolutely to go independent right after college. Yeah.
Okay, great, great, ma'am. So, ma'am, you are not from a national law university, yet you have interned with some of the pioneers of the legal fraternity, like Shri Mahesh Jethmalani sir, Harish Salve, Mukul Rohtagi, Deepak Misra. So, what were your struggles in this field, and how you made it through them? If you can tell us some stories around it, and so that would be really great. Yeah.
That's very kind of you to give such a good introduction. But yes, I would say that, I mean, as far as all of my internships are concerned, it happened, there's kind of a linkage between each internship. So while I interned in Supreme Court, while I was interning with the then Solicitor General. So that time, I of course had a discussion with my co-interns, with a couple of lawyers there, and I paved way through my other second internship. So I think all of my internships are somewhere or the other correlated. And, I mean, you can just apply and you can just do your best, and then you just have to leave it. So I think destiny also played its role. And apart from it, I think I did regular follow ups. I ensured that my resume is very, very crisp. And also, I also ensured to write a covering email while I applied in all of these places, because I think that that is something that is really required. While you send your resume, just ensure to put in certain pointers why you want to intern in particular chamber or particular law firm, and which period you're looking for the internship. All of these things, I think it's must to keep it in the covering email. So I think, but if you ask about how did I secure these internships,
Yeah.
so yes, there is, as I said, that there was a kind of correlation between each internship. So while I interned in one place, I got to know about, okay, so I can intern here, or maybe this is the chamber. But yes, as I suggest to all of the non-national law students as well, that there's no harm, or there's no barrier as such that stops you from not joining a tier one law firm, or maybe the tier one law chambers as well. It's just that need to know what you exactly want to do, and that can come when you experience that. And while in college, the only way is through internships, which is the reason my focus throughout my law school journey was on internships.
Okay, great. So, ma'am, we know that hundreds and thousands of students apply in the tier one firms you have interned with, and thousands of people apply to the advocates you have v- learned under. So, what are the things you have in your mind which you perceive as these are the things which distinguished me from others, and that's why I got selected and not the rest of the crowd? So, what was the factors with you that distinguished you from the crowd?
See, as far as distinction is concerned, I would say that, I mean, while I applied for my internships, as I said, I used all of these techniques. Secondly, while I entered these offices, then I, of course, tried to give my best in whatever effort, in whatever way I did. And thirdly, I would say that I always try and keep a very innovative and a logical approach towards things. So whenever a task comes to me, I used to put in some extra effort at, okay, this is what is given to me, but I also think this. So I mean, maybe don't shred away from talking directly to the partner, or maybe the senior you're working with, and tell your opinion to him that, okay, this is where I contradict to you. Maybe at times you don't agree with the senior or the partner, but don't shred away not to tell your view or your viewpoint or your opinion. So I always made it a point that, okay, I mean, I have to be very, I used to be very particular when while I was interning in all of these places. I tried to submit like a research proposition or research paper at the end of my internship. So that helps you in assessing while your work is being assessed at the end of your internship. Then I for the firm internship, what I would suggest is that always try for a callback. That's very important. So while I interned with Amarchand, I tried getting a callback in the same team while I was interning previously. So during my second internship, I already knew the team members, and it was, very very good environment in the team. I knew the team members. I knew what kind of work is done in that particular team, and which is when I, somehow developed interest in that practice area, and of course then joined the team.
Great, great answer. Very well. So, ma'am, you also mentioned the format of you, the format you opted for your CV and the cover letter was something which made it easy for the recruiter to pick your application out of the thousands. So, what were those factors in your CV and cover letter? If you can touch upon that briefly.
Right. See, as I said briefly, that in your cover letter, you have to crisply cover that this is the reason why I want to intern in this particular law firm or in this particular chamber. For that reason, you have to also ensure that you write in brief your experience which you had previously, that as far as litigation is concerned, I've already interned with so and so, or in so and so law firm, or in so and so chamber, so as to bring some kind of credibility in your resume or in your application, which of course have a better hold, I mean, amongst others. Then you have to mention in very clear terms the period while you are looking to intern. Also, I would say what I used to do is I used to give certain dates at one go. I mean, if I'm willing to intern in September, maybe I'll write September or even March. So if the slot is not available in September, they can put me in March. So I think that is where a lot of law firms also have restrictions while as far as internships are concerned, because May and June is totally full with national law students, which are, of course, they have their respective placement committees. They apply through the placement committees. So I would suggest, if it's possible, then you can, I mean, try and apply leaving apart these 2 months. And say similarly in winters, I think December to January is again packed up by the national law students. So you can, give some kind of leverage even to the HR to figure out suitable dates for you. Yeah, all of these things are were there. I mean, which I used to mention in my covering letter.
Okay, great. Great answer, ma'am. So, in the chat box, I can see that some people are saying why we are discussing law firms and why you are getting distracted from the topic. So, people, let me tell you one thing, that litigation doesn't mean independent litigation always. As Tanvi ma'am has also mentioned, that you have to learn under someone in order to start your own practice. And that is from internships, that is from learning under good seniors, learning under good law firms. That's why I'm discussing how we can score those internships and how we can get selected in the best firms out of, while competing with lot of NLUs and other brands like Jindal and Symbiosis. That,
Yeah.
and I think it is very pertinent to the discussion.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, ma'am. Uh, so, ma'am, how about now we discussing some activities we can do in law college itself, which which will prepare us for our litigation career after the college.
Uh, while you're in law college, now the law colleges, of course, have beautifully modified their way of teaching, which includes extracurricular activities as well. So, being a law student, you're expected to know everything. I mean, you would be expected to even argue the matter right after college. For that, you have to entertain in discussions, you have to entertain in MOUs, in moot courts, write research papers. I've always told the students to do everything possible in these 5 years, because after these 5 years, you are just in the field, and you don't get time to, maybe it's difficult to write research papers or be part of such competitions. So it's always this, you have to utilize this time. And nowadays, when colleges are providing you with all of these facilities, but then why not avail it? Because as I said, that you can be expected to even argue the day you are enrolled. So for that, you have to build confidence, and that would only come while you know how it happens. So I think moot courts are the best way to build confidence, as far as arguing a matter is concerned, or as far as knowing what happens in the court is concerned.
Okay, great answer, ma'am. So ma'am, how you planned your internships in law school, so that they can resonate with your ambitions after the college of being a good litigator?
See, with me, it was a very interesting journey. So I, didn't knew exactly. I mean, I knew that I want to be a lawyer, but whether I want to litigate, whether I want to be a judge, or whether I want to, whether I would end up, going into a corporate setup, I was unsure about. For that, for 2 years, I devoted in interning everywhere. Like first 2 years of college, starting from an NGO internship in the first semester, then going to every, I mean, I did my corporate internship, then I interned with a lawyer, then I gradually went to Supreme Court. Then while I went there, I somehow figured that okay, this is what I want to do. Then I focused on those litigation internships, and in law firms also I focused on dispute resolution team internships, where there's a lot of court exposure. You get to go to the court, get to argue, not argue, but yes, keep your arguments to the senior who is going to argue. So yes, so I focused on all of these things.
Okay. So, ma'am, it's not necessary that if one has to one aspires to make a career in litigation, then he exclusively have to intern with l- litigating lawyers only. They should get a overall sense of the
Yeah,
profession.
yeah, yeah.
That
Of course, it's very important, because a lot of you, I think, have dilemma as to what exactly you want to do. You might end up becoming a judge, or you might end up becoming a successful, joining a successful counsel practice. So that only comes in when you have experience of everything.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
which is the reason I said that it's important to devote those initial 2 years doing every kind of internship, so that while you choose one particular field, you're quite satisfied about it. That okay, I mean, this is something that I have chosen with my wish and will.
Okay. Great answer, ma'am. Fantastic. So this brings me to my next segment of internship questions on how to perform well in an internship in order to fetch best learning experience from there, to build good connections and a meaningful network of professions, and obviously to secure PPOs. Like you have also mentioned that one thing leads to another. If you perform well in one internship, you get a letter of recommendation or a reference to another good chamber where you will have a totally different experience and totally new things to explore and to learn, which will be really helpful for you to start your litigation career after college, which is the topic of the session. So, ma'am, ma'am, the question here is, what is your take on it? What was your benchmark for delivering results during your internship, and how you used to distinguish yourself from others during your internships?
See, my internships, every internship I did, I tried and did put in best of my efforts. Secondly, I would say that whether it be a chamber internship or whether it be a firm internship, try and submit a research proposition or a research paper at the end of the internship, which I did in every internship, so as to show your interest and some kind of devotion that this is something that I've been writing on. Like my mentor personally, late Ram Jethmalani ji, who I fortunate enough to work with him for a couple of years. So he always used to ask me, the first thing he used to ask me always was that, what have you written? What's the recent case you're working on? So I used to be, always ready with that. And, I mean, the first discussion we always used to have was always about the work that I was doing. So secondly, I would say that if you're interning in a law firm, so this varies, of course. In a chamber, it's only a sole lawyer that you can speak to if you intend to join that chamber. In a law firm, it's a setup, it's a hierarchy, and you have to go through several processes and chains before joining that law firm. So in a law firm, the situation is totally different. So speaking with respect to a law firm, I would say that while interning with law firms, I ensured firstly to get a callback internship. Um, so that you will only get if you kind of build a good rapport with the team that you're working with, and you give your best efforts in, I mean, whatever task. Even if I used to be allocated minute tasks, like maybe taking out SCC printouts, or maybe just working on a brief, or just briefing the senior, take interest in all of that. If you're not aware of anything, that maybe just try it, give it a try, and then speak with the person that, okay, this is my opinion, and I may be right, I may be wrong, but you can take his views on that if you're not sure about anything. So these are certain areas that I used to, I mean, I did my best effort, I would say, in my law firm internship, got a call back in the same team. So this is something that's very important. If you're getting a call back, that please ensure that you get a call back in the same team. The plus points of that would be that, first of all, you'll know the team members, you'll know the kind of work, you'll more or less, you'll also know the kind of matters you've worked in. So while you intern the second time, you can maybe speak with them directly that, okay, I like the work and I intend to join your team. So this is something that's it's very important to maybe join the same team, get a call, try and get a call back in the same team. That's It's very important. And thirdly, I would say that, you know uh, in a law firm, maybe there are opportunities while you directly speak with the partners, but there are certain times when the partners are so busy that you don't get a chance to interact with them. But whenever you have the opportunity, please go and directly speak with them. At least let them be aware that, okay, you are interning in their team, because in a month they get more or less 5 interns in a month, each team. So they don't tend to remember which intern interned where, and I mean, what is he doing. So let him be aware that, okay, I am doing this, and I'm interning. I'm here for almost 21 days or 30 days, whatever time period you are here. And while you're also leaving the internship, let him be aware that, okay, I like the work here. I intend to join this team. So that interaction is very important while you, I mean, whether
Yes,
it be your first internship or second internship.
great, great answer. So ma'am have just uh, made it the point that as much as it is important to score good internships, it is also important, crucial to perform in those internships. Because when I used to uh, I once came into Shardul Amarchand Mangaldas office, and I asked an acquaintance over there ki, sir, what is the one thing you don't like about your interns? So they told me ki they all are knowledgeable students, but they usually tend to do only what is allotted to them. They don't over deliver so that they can get highlighted in the overall crowd. So if you have been given some certain task, always walk an extra mile and to impress your senior, to make your presence get felt by partners or even under the associate you are working in. So one thing ma'am mentioned is over delivering. Second is seeking timelines and seeking more work and seeking guidance from seniors, which can help you in fetching more and better learning experience from your internships. So ma'am, I have a follow-up question. Most of us will be going to intern with independent litigators of Supreme Courts and High Courts for brushing up our litigation and arguing skills. So ma'am, what are the qualities a senior lawyer desire in an intern to hire him under to work to let him work under him?
If you choose to intern in a law chamber or with a senior counsel, he would not expect you to know everything about law. Law is, I mean, something that involves a lot of reading, And at a college level, he would not really expect you to know everything under the sun. But yes, definitely, he would expect you to do the task diligently, what is being allocated to you. So you have to show interest in that. You should request him, if you request him to, maybe join to the court for hearings. I don't think so. He'll be very happy. He or she will be very happy if you accompany to the court. So it's important that you give your inputs in any kind of matter. So it also varies from a senior to senior, because senior counsels usually are very busy after the court. They have briefings and conferences for the next day. So if you're a part of that particular conference, try and give inputs on that matter, that this is the matter. I have researched this, and maybe take the file from their court clerk that, okay, I would want to be involved in this matter. And then while that conference is going on, give your inputs in that matter, that I have researched on this proposition, because he will be thoroughly busy. If you expect the senior to sit down with you and have a chat, that won't happen. So you have to find out ways, you have to figure out ways, you have to tell him that this is what I have researched on, this is what I have found. And I mean, as far as this argument is concerned, this is what I have figured out. So you have to take that extra initiative, and which is how he will recognize you.
Okay. Okay. So, ma'am, can you give us list of list of certain tasks which one, no, no, not task, a list of some work which a student must know in order to score an internship under a senior counsel of Supreme Court, like filing an RTI, knowing how to file an RTI, or knowing how to find case president, something like that, in form of pointers.
If you wish to intern with a Supreme Court counsel, then little bit of litigation experience is required. You should know the trial court work, you should know the high court work. Every Supreme Court lawyer would expect you to know the basics, like of filing. And as I said, they would not expect you to know entirely about law, but yes, definitely they would expect you to know about the basics. So yes, you have to be abreast about the basics. You have to know what exactly your role as an intern would be in that particular chamber. So that thoroughly depends from a chamber to chamber. And then of course you have to show that interest by speaking with their office staff, or maybe their juniors. If there's no work, you have to speak with them and get work. So but as far as your question is concerned, I don't see that there are certain requisites while joining a Supreme Court senior. Because see, while you're in college, they don't expect you to know everything under the sun. But yes, your CV should have some kind of trial court and high court experience. If you go to the Supreme Court, then they definitely want to see some kind of experience.
Precisely, ma'am.
The
So,
grades
uh,
actually doesn't matter, because see, while you're in the field, you have to know what the law is. You have to have some kind of good experience. So I would, I mean, without prejudice, it's of course very good to have college toppers in any chamber, but that is not a prerequisite, I would say.
great answer, ma'am. So, ma'am, you have highlighted the uh, with the expectations which a senior counsel has from a potential hire. So there is a lot of questions coming about how a first year student should plan their internships, or what are the hierarchy of doing internships. So ma'am have just highlighted that it is not a very smart move to write to straight away go to intern with a Supreme Court counsel. It is always good to start from a district court, a trial court, or some tribunal. Like I started from Debt Recovery Tribunal. Some starts from district court. So this is a very wise move, because from there you get to learn. You make mistakes on a small platform. The impact of you being naive doesn't get magnified that much as as if it would have if you have right away gone to Supreme Court, right, ma'am? So
Right.
ma'am, but in order to cater these questions, if you can once again tell us your methodology of planning internships in law colleges from the first year, as well from the first year itself, then
Yeah.
that would be great.
It's a very good question, in the sense that the first semester should be devoted for maybe NGO internship or a trial court internship. If you can intern with a trial court lawyer, then nothing like it. You can spend entire year. I mean, I think there are two internship slots that are given in the summer and the winter internship. So you can devote it with a trial court lawyer, have an idea about the trial court, the proceedings, cross examination, trial, everything. Then second year you can devote for high court internship. Interning with a judge is also not a bad option because there you get to brief hold of the brief, and also get at occasions you also have an opportunity to brief the judge himself. So that's also a very good option for a second year.
Yeah.
Third year, by third year, as we discussed previously, by third year you somehow get a taste of what exactly you want to do. So it may be that you're interested, if your interest is diverted towards litigation, then you can apply to Supreme Court. If you're interested towards maybe judiciary or in-house or general corporate, then you can go for law firms. So that's a very crucial phase. So in third year you should start interning only in those places where you actually see your interest going. So that's something that is very important.
Precisely. And it
And
isn't.
by fourth year, by end of fourth year, you should try and get to that place that okay, this is the area or this is particular chamber or a law firm where I intend to work, and then maybe get a call back in your fifth year. And so this is the procedure. So third year is actually very crucial to decide actually what you want to do.
Okay. Precisely. So we know that litigation is in every field. There is no field per se which doesn't involve litigation, whether it is energy laws, IBC, corporate law, criminal law, of course, criminal law. So everything involves litigation. But ma'am has just made it a point that you should s- choose your field of specialization from fourth year, and third and fourth year are the stages of your career where you score PPOs and where you score the letter of recommendations for interning with Supreme Court judges and senior counsels at tier one law firms. So these 2 years are very crucial for uh, for for your overall litigator litigation career. So I'm in
Yeah,
fifth
actually,
year.
more or less deciding as to what you exactly want to do.
Precisely.
In those first 2 years, if you've interned with a trial court lawyer, if you interned with a high court judge, if you've interned with a small corporate setup, by third year you actually get that idea that okay, am I even liking litigation or not? At times you actually don't like that. So maybe then that's the time to decide that I should begin preparing for judiciary, or maybe I should end up choosing internship in a corporate setup. So that's something that I want to say, that that only happens while you have an experience in everything.
Great, great, ma'am. Okay, so ma'am, we have discussed uh, about scoring internships, about nailing in those internships, kind of work available in the field of litigation, and where to place your steps in the field when you are starting as an independent practitioner. So at
Hmm.
this juncture, coming to when the session has come to this point, I would like to take you back to your law school days. What are the common mistakes do law school students do which become a pothole in their roadway for a successful legal career? Not writing blogs is one I know. Like you have done lot of moot courts, lot of paper presentations, lot of online courses. So if you can briefly tell us what are the common mistakes law students do which which hinders their growth as a professional, then that would be really great.
Law school, these 5 years that you get, 5 years or 3 years, whichever law course you've enrolled for, you get the time to possibly do everything you want to. Uh, so the possible mistake I foresee is not entertaining in these extracurricular activities. So, for example, I went for these certification courses. I was very unsure how far it will help me, but believe me, it turned out to be a great success while I completed these courses. So, entertaining into these certification courses and going on for all of these panel discussions, moot courts, maybe being part of all of these, organizing fests and all. So possibly doing everything that is possible in all of these 5 years, that eventually counts a lot.
Great. Okay, ma'am. Uh, s- so taking initiatives, being a part of the activities which ask for leadership, like organizing the fest, like you mentioned, organizing a moot court, these really help. According to me, moot courts, in a certain sense, please don't get me wrong, in a certain sense, like playing in a sandbox, because there is nothing at stake, there is no real client, no real witnesses, and judges also don't mark you on the criteria which is expected from a lawyer. But what moot courts teach you is what are the courtroom etiquettes, how to find a
Exactly. Right.
precedent, and how you are supposed to talk to a judge, and how you are supposed to address the opposing counsel. These things moot court can teach you. But other than that, all that you have to learn from internships. The main nuances is
More than anything, be it be moot courts or be it be MOUs or any kind of such activities, it develops that confidence in you. So while you are out of law school, as I said, that even if you are asked to argue a matter on the very day that you're enrolled, so you don't have that hesitation. So you have that inbuilt confidence, and that inbuilt confidence is developed through these activities, as you correctly suggested, that the virtual court that we see and while we argue, it gives a lot of confidence. It gets the idea as to how analyze the mind of the judge, analyze the facts, analyze the law. So that's something that is really helpful.
great, great, ma'am. So, ma'am, my next question is an extension of this question only. A key, uh, this time from the perspective of a legal scholar, but not from a aspiring litigator.
Okay.
Okay, what are the things they don't teach in law schools, but you wish they did? And also, according to you, what is the importance of extracurricular activities you have just mentioned? Like, by importance, I mean, what is the CV value of a moot court, a MUN, a youth parliament, a paper presentation, research paper presentation, sorry, in developing skills pertinent to the industry?
It
So,
has immense value, undoubtedly. The first thing in a CV people would look is what's the experience like. If you have good moot courts in your resume, if you have good panel discussions or MOUs in your resume, it counts a lot. So even the small, they won't see which moot court. I mean, you should not only go with the name thing, but yes, even the small moot courts or maybe your college level competitions also play its role. So these kind of experience plays a big role in your CV, and moot courts and these panel discussions. But nowadays it's said that what the college is not giving, but I would con- there's a little contradictory view in the sense that these days the colleges have modified their way of teaching. So there are a lot of curricular activities. There's a lot of time for all of these activities that is being specifically allocated by the colleges. So I personally feel that the students must make the best out of it and utilize this time. And I've seen colleges where the students go for these summer courses, where students go for the college sponsor some of the international moot courts. So all of that is even happening in some of the non-national law schools these days. So that's commendable. I think these days the students are getting fortunate enough and also getting very, very good opportunities, which maybe down the line, even if we see 5 years back, they were not such opportunities. So these days, there are a lot of opportunities that colleges have come across with. There are ties with some of the international universities as well, so that you get certain certification courses. You can go for those certification courses. As far as CV value of all of these things is concerned, it's immense. It's immense. So apart from your internship, the second thing a person will look on your CV is what activities you've done while in law school.
precisely, precisely. And also, these activities also include writing blogs. You mentioned in your previous answers, writing blogs and doing online
Certainly,
courses.
right,
Yeah,
right.
because in LawSikho, I have worked with LawSikho for almost an year now, and I have seen students in our organization scoring internships and even PPOs in the firms solely on the basis of the articles they have written. Like one of our students has had extensively written on taxation law. he got a call from a partner that why don't you come and intern with us. One of our student wrote on sports law, he got a call from a company to intern in their in-house team. So writing articles really contributes. And I'm just summarizing what you have mentioned. These are all your words only, so that learnings get more articulated. Na? Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the online courses you mentioned, how online courses, I personally don't think, as I've interviewed so many lawyers, I personally don't think they have per se a CV value. The value is of the skills you learn in those internships. If I have 10 certificates from different courses, that won't matter. But if I know how to file an RTI, if I know how to file an MOU, how to draft an MOU, how to write a contract, these things will really distinguish me from all the uh, potential candidates and really make a mark on the employer, which even ma'am has endorsed on the platform. So
Right.
ma'am, there is one very interesting question. uh this guy Parikshan has put it up that seeing the current scenario of COVID-19, internships of many students are being cancelled. So, what can be done to make its this time productive, and how one should plan its career in this time? So, the question basically here is, key due to COVID-19, our internship schedule has get missed. So, how we can make up for it? How we can fetch the best out of the online internships and fetch the best out of this quarantine opportunity for the professional growth.
If you see how to utilize your, this lockdown period time that you've got, then for law students and also for this couple of lawyers, there are very good courses of certain prestigious universities like Harvard has come across with certain free courses which you can enroll, and they are really interesting. So apart from law, they have courses on science, social science, arts. That's very interesting. So to know little more apart from law, so you can enroll for those courses. Cancellation of internship, of course, is not in your hand, and this is something that the entire country is suffering. Even though all the offices are shut, even the court is, there's a perfunctory functioning of the courts. So you have to. The best way is to just drop an email to whichever office you gotten confirmation from that this is the prospective period I'm looking for. But seeing the current situation, you can't comment on anything. So maybe you can, the best way is to just keep following up that what's exactly happening and what's the taste like, and then you can decide. But utilizing your time, you can enroll for these courses, you can go for online internships. Even international firms like White and Case have come up with their virtual internships which are very helpful. So you can enroll for that. Try doing those internships. You can, this is the best time to develop your contacts. So wherever you've interned previously, maybe get in touch with those people and maybe ask them that since there's no college, I'm free enough to, if there's any work you can help them with. There's no restriction per se. I feel that everyone would be happy, and that's a great way to connect and build a network. So yes, I feel all of these things would add up to your lockdown period, making it, little better.
Yeah. So, ma'am, would you like to specify a bit more about what are the courses one can go for? Like an aspiring litigator, what courses he should opt to, which can supplement his career in the later stages?
You can go for courses which involve code crafting, courses which involve, you know, making you learn the basic practice and procedures. Because the theoretical knowledge, you learn enough of it in the college. So I would say that there's no point going for the theoretical courses. I always preferred going for courses which have little bit of practical value. So if there's, for example, a course on Supreme Court practice and procedures. So if you've enrolled for that course, so the moment you go to the Supreme Court or you do some filing in the Supreme Court, you are at least aware that okay, these are the things that have to be kept in mind. So I always went for courses which had little bit of practical impact in the profession. And because theoretical knowledge, of course, there are a lot of books to read, and we get enough of theoretical knowledge in college. So going for another course on that is something that I mean, I was a little skeptical about. So
Precisely.
there are a lot of courses nowadays, even on the practical bit.
Great.
Yes, so
Great
yeah,
answer, ma'am. So, precisely. If ma'am has very well put the point that if a course doesn't have practical takeaways for you, then what is the difference between that course and what you are learning in college?
right,
So here I would like to take the opportunity to plug in our courses. So LawSikho also provide courses on uh, advanced civil litigation and the courses on national understanding the litigation in NCLT, National Company Law Tribunal, NCLAT, which is appellate tribunal. So you guys can check them out here. I have sent the link in the chat box. uh, the main reason why I am myself a LawSikho student, so the main reason I endorse these courses is because your success rate is tremendously high with LawSikho, because it weekly give you exercises on the practical basis. This is the same work you will be doing as a lawyer. Like, we will give you a contract to draft on a basis of a problem, and then you have to figure it out yourself. And there is you also get regular feedback from our evaluators, and the teachers are also available on WhatsApp. So if you post any query on WhatsApp group, you get the answer within 24 hours. So I have sent the link of these two courses in the chat box. You guys should check it out. Otherwise, there are always options on web to explore. So yeah, so far so good. Ma'am is on fire. Great answers, very articulated and very precise answers. So ma'am, there is a question which Radhika Ramesh has put it up.
okay,
So if a fifth year student who doesn't have much of mooting experience and not much of internship experience, he's sort of an underachiever. So how he can plan his career ahead? Like, if someone is witnessing a real downfall in his career,
right.
what are the steps they can take to again boost up that career and s-
Correct. So it's
or
never
in
too
yeah.
late. It's never too late. Hi, Radhika. And addressing to your question, I would say that it's for anyone. It's never too late to realize that this is something that I actually want to do. So the moment there's a realization, you can start again with little bit of practical experience in that field before actually joining that any field. I would say. So again, even if in fifth year it clicks you that okay, this is something that I actually want to do, then go for a brief period of internship. Maybe go for, I would say that go for interning in a trial court or high court in the fifth year. Just have a taste of what the work is like, and then once you graduate, then spend again 6 months or a year uh, having a grasp on the subject matter, because the groundwork is totally different from what you learn in the college. So all
Precisely.
of these internship is where it plays its role. So I think you will have to one has to spend a year or so to know what kind of experience it is like, what kind of the work looks like something. So you have to have experience in that field. And by the end of 6 months, you'll realize that okay, I'm prepared enough to join any office, and which is where that kicks in. And litigation is actually networking plays a big role in litigation. So the moment you get in the field, you try and build that network, and that happens only once you are in the field. So that can only happen once you are there. And yeah, so it's never too late. And but this experience is of course required. It's a must.
Great. Great answer. So ma'am has very well put it that it is never too late to understand the practical intricacies, and you can start from you can start doing that from the trial court and district court practice, right, ma'am?
Yeah,
So my next question is an extension of this question only. So we know that when it comes to litigation, variables like NLU versus non-NLU, topper versus average student, well off versus poor doesn't matter that much. So all that matter is how much value you can bring to your clients, to your potential clients, to your seniors.
right.
But still, I think it is relevant to address what are the pitfalls one need to watch out for while stepping into the field of litigation. Like, what are the things a student tend to ignore when he is jumping into the litigation, which you have learned from your experience?
That's a very good question I wanted to address also. So, one of the areas which you have to keep in mind while you choose to join litigation is you have to be mindful of the fact that there's no money in the initial years of your practice. So, you have to devise your survival strategy, I mean, well in advance. If you take a decision to go independence, take all of these things in mind and only then take that decision. But again, at the same time, if you have to adopt an approach of being patient and calm, that's it's very very important. And maybe the best way is to engage yourself in any kind of activity, maybe writing a book or maybe teaching law. So that has twofold benefit. Firstly, it keeps you thoroughly involved. For writing a book, you have to spend 12 or 14 hours a day. So I am myself working on a book with Eastern Book Company, and while I spend come back home after like a rigorous schedule, I again have to spend 5 hours, at least 5 hours a day on that particular book. So you actually don't have time to think on what exactly is happening around, or look at, focus on all of these loopholes and get demotivated. So involvement in all of these kind of activities, or maybe teach a subject, so that helps you to have a hold on that subject matter, get a grasp on the subject matter. You read a lot of authorities, you come across a lot and a lot of good work, good writings that enhance your knowledge, and also somewhere or the other helps you. Of course, goes away with time, but it's a fact, it's there. So everyone should have has to be mindful about it.
Great, ma'am. Uh, s- uh, Ma'am has very rightly answered the question. I think the it there is nothing for me to. So, ma'am, the question here is, when we step into the litigation career, should we focus on one particular field and specialize in that as world is moving towards specialization, or shall we develop a general practice so that we can get a overall taste of the profession and experience of all the forums?
Initial years can, of course, be devoted to have an idea about all the forums and practice areas, because a lawyer is expected to know about everything. I mean, a lawyer can't say that, okay, I don't know about a
Precisely.
procedure of this
Yeah.
particular tribunal or this particular court. So,
Yes, exactly.
initial few years have to be devoted to learn exactly what happens in all the tribunals and court. And of course, after that, after a particular period of time, going for a particular practice area and choosing your code of practice, it's always a good advice. It's always preferable to do that. But initial years, you have to have a taste of everything. You ought to know everything before proceeding to a specific area of practice.
Great, great answer. I asked this question to number of people, and no one has ever given this precise answer, which is so easy to consume. The best thing about this session so far is that the knowledge ma'am is imparting is very easy to grasp and very easy to incorporate in the life. So the answer is crystal clear, that in the initial years you should focus on getting the taste of every forum and every niche. But once you have developed that appetite, then you should start singling out your areas of interest, and then you should confine yourself to certain judicial forums like DRT or like NCLT or Supreme Courts, like that. Great answer, ma'am. So
And
I
there also,
am
I think the experience
yeah.
plays a role, because after college, if you join litigation, you are not sure which area of practice actually attracts you. So if you've tried everything, it's only then you tend to choose that particular area.
Yeah, great, ma'am. So, ma'am, someone has just asked that where we can write articles and how we should write articles, where to get them published. Some, uh, so I can answer only one question, that where you can get published. We LawSikho has a blog named I Pleaders, which is one of the world's most read legal blogs. You can send our blogs to us, your blogs to us, and if it has is plagiarism below 20%, and it is very informative and very well articulated blog, then we will publish it on our platform. Most of our blogs cross 1,000 views. And other options are, you can send it to Live Law and Bar and Bench. The email ID is there on the website in the contact section. so you can send it to those platforms as well. So the question here to you is how you started writing your research papers and the articles. What was your journey and how you evolved it, so how you evolved in the process?
I started with the national journals, and the first research paper I wrote was for the NLS Consumer Journal, and which was very informative because I was doing one more course on the consumer law and practice. So that helped me, to develop and to get a grasp on the subject matter, and which is the reason I chose to write a research paper on that. So, and then gradually I moved to international law journals as well. So, as far as the choice of the journals or where we get information of the law firm journals is, of course, from the respective websites of the college. So, I used to check the websites of all of these, reputed law colleges, and also nowadays other websites, and they have other portals through which you get the pop-ups each day that this is the opportunity or this is the journal you can look for. I think you would know better these days. I think there are a lot of platforms on which you get the pop-ups every day that these are the internship opportunity or these are the the journal call for papers or all of these things. So there are even the college committee. I personally prepared. I was heading the college placement committee. So I prepared a small team, a group of people who used to keep the other kids updated of all of these activities, because in non-national colleges especially you don't actually get the updates directly from other universities. So what we used to do is that we did prepared a small group of people, and used to update the students that these are the opportunities you must avail. And so I think that initiative can be taken by the other students as well, so that you have that initiative in you to research on these platforms to figure out the opportunities and let other people or other juniors of yours or seniors of yours also aware of this fact. That was very helpful in my college days.
Okay, okay, great answer. Only one thing I would like to add up here is that law journals, I personally don't think it is very good idea to write for law journals, because what reason number one is many law journals have subscribers like 60, 20 people. LawSikho on the other hand has 1 million readers every month. So I think writing blogs is much more impactful and much more uh, helpful to your career as well, to and to society as well. So you can write for law journals as well, but always make a priority to write blogs first. That's all. That is all. Otherwise, ma'am's answer was more than enough to cover everything. So, ma'am, I have only one question with me left, and then we will open the forum for attendees to ask the questions.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
we crossed 1 hour already. I didn't realize. Yeah.
yeah, at this juncture, uh, you are also very well versed with the arbitration. So you have worked with the International Committee of Arbitration, I guess, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, and arbitration is quite opposite of litigation. Unlike litigation, where one party wins everything and one party loses everything, in arbitration, arbitrators try to resolve the matter by mutual give and take. But in multiple cases, we have seen that the knowledge of arbitration becomes indispensable in litigation career. Whether it is, matlab, where there is litigation, arbitration follows. So no matter in which area you are practicing in, arbitration is must. So what is your say on it? How is it possible for a person to master arbitration litigation, and what is the significance of arbitration in the career of a litigator?
I think there's kind of a correlation between dispute resolution and arbitration. And a lot of teams in the law firms do dispute resolution and arbitration simultaneously. So if you say that the person has to adopt a practice focused approach, then I mean, somewhere or the other, it's correlated. So there's no kind of, I mean, hindrance to do litigation and arbitration practice simultaneously.
Okay. My question was: is it important for a litigator to know the nuances of arbitration?
Yeah, certainly. A litigator, as I suggested, that a client would expect you to know everything. So there almost in every contract there's a clause of arbitration. So there are parties and there are cases where we advise the client firstly to adopt that mode, and for that you have to know what it is exactly. So certainly it's really important for a litigator to know the rules, techniques, procedure, and be abreast of it completely.
Okay. So, ma'am, just a little more emphasis on the extent to which one knows arbitration. Can you give us 4 5 pointers a litigator must know about arbitration, that this knowledge is must in order to serve your client to the best of arbitration?
See, as far as arbitration is concerned, you have to firstly be part of certain arbitrations to know how the what the arbitration proceedings look like. You have to be abreast of Section 9, and you have to be abreast of the Arbitration Act, the constitution of the arbitration tribunal. All of this is something that the initial beginner stage I'm talking about, not going into the criticality of the topic, but these are the initial thing that if you ask like a beginner to know about, that these are the initial thing that one must know about.
Great. Okay, okay, ma'am. So with this, I am done with my set of questions. Now we open the forum for attendees to ask their questions. So people, now one by one, you can unmute yourself, and ask ma'am questions. Ma'am, she's all yours now. Yeah, Shweta Surana, please go ahead.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Shweta Sarana, ma'am.
Hi.
So, like you mentioned a couple of do's and don'ts in throughout your throughout the session, that what you should do as a law student or not, ma'am. But could you also stress on what kind of work should we concentrate just while in college? So, a lot of people say, should we just start specialization right at the first, or should we just focus on not doing an LLM after college? So how does specialization and generalization work in the, like, how does that help a law student, or how should a law student think of that in that regard?
Right. Uh, I would say that to your question, I would say that it largely depends. If you want to enter into litigation, then specialization for the initial few years, uh, it really don't count, in the sense that you have to be aware of everything, and you have to be aware of arbitrations, as we just discussed. You have to be aware of IPR. You have to be aware of dispute resolution. So aware of everything, and you have to be aware of arbitrations, as we just discussed. Is there a problem in the voice? There's some echo that I'm hearing.
Hello.
Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, it's better now. So, so answering Shweta's question as to how far specialization is required in college. So it's helpful if you tend to go for LLM, or tend to your interest area in college. There's no harm. Of course, it's good to know your area of interest while in college, that maybe people tend to do only IPR, maybe people only tend to do arbitrations. There's no harm doing that. But in even keeping a caveat to it, I would say that while practicing, while you enter the profession, uh, there is a requirement for initial few years to be spent in everywhere, like all the tribunals, all the practice areas. So that's something that again, there's a caveat, but specialization doesn't really make any harm. It's always good to specialize in one kind of area, so while you graduate, you know that okay, this is the practice area that I have to do. But that doesn't is not very litigation specific per se. It's important if you want to join particular team, for example, in a law firm, a corporate setup. So all your internships have been corporate specific, or an IPR setup. So all your internships have been IPR specific, or a banking setup. If you want to join as a independent counsel or a counsel practice, then specialization in the initial few years doesn't play its role, because you ought to and you're expected to know everything.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great answer. Okay. Next question. People, if you can ask your questions a bit quickly, because Tanvi has other business to take care of. Please, quickly.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. My name is
Achal
Achal
Jain.
Jain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ma'am, first of all, thank you very much for such an insightful lecture. Am I
Thank you.
audible?
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, so my question is, suppose if a student or a fresher graduate want to excel himself into the field of arbitration, So what should be the starting point or the focal point on which he should focus?
You're speaking while in college or after graduation?
While in college, and just like I am currently I'm pursuing LLB and I'm in the final year of my college. So I'm
Okay.
asking.
Yeah. So once a student has, somehow, somewhere or the other, he has devised that, okay, arbitration is something that I want to do, then a person has to do those specific internships, do a little bit of research, maybe write blogs or articles for a couple of journals on arbitration. Then I would say that maybe engage into discussions where arbitrations or laws discussing arbitration is involved, so that somewhere or the other that enhances your knowledge on that particular subject matter. If you're interning with a law firm, then you will get vast exposure on really significant and huge arbitrations, which will involve your contribution to an extent of, more than just researching. You may request the members of the team to be involved and watch the arbitration proceedings. So that all of that, while in college, you can only get that exposure while you're interning or getting that practical exposure. Even these days you have these negotiation grounds and competitions like that. So enrolling for those competitions, being like moot courts are there. Similarly, these negotiation rounds help you to, somewhere or the other, just analyze as to what exactly happens in an arbitration. So all of these pointers would definitely help you while you graduate and while you choose your career in arbitration. You're abreast already of what exactly happens, what are the important sections, what is the law governing arbitrations, know little about the LCIL, know little about the CAC rules and regulations. So, and be, updated on LinkedIn to know about all these competitions that
Yeah.
keeps coming in for international and national arbitrations. So these days I keep finding students also participating. While in this lockdown period, there are a couple of competitions that I came across, which are happening online, on all of these negotiation rounds and all that are happening. So all of this adds up to a larger benefit. So you are already abreast about what exactly, or what happens in an arbitration once you are a part of it.
Great answer, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
So,
Thank you very much.
so what was your name, dude? Achal,
My
right?
name was Achal Jain. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so I think ma'am has made it pretty clear that you can write blogs about it, like writing about how to file a notice under article under section 21 of arbitration, or what are the
Yes.
recent developments, or what are the landmark cases about in the arbitration sector, and send it to the law firms, because these people really take publication seriously, and publication is something which makes the CV stand out, as the Tanvi Dubey ma'am rightly mentioned. So
Exactly.
yeah, so you can write the blogs specifically focused on arbitration, either on judgments or on the process of arbitration. So this was the point. I'm
Sure.
just
Thank you very much.
summarizing it. Yeah.
But to let you know, before when the man mentioned about writing the article in the blogs, and I just noted down the context which you have told, like about the LawSikho and IP readers. So I'm just working upon writing some articles, and I'll surely get back to the
Great,
websites. So I've
great,
just noted that down. Okay.
great, man.
All the best.
So yeah,
Thank you,
Gaurav
Anubhav.
Ahuja.
Thank you very much, man.
Yeah, Gaurav Ahuja. Your question. Gaurav, hello. Okay, I think we lost you.
Hello.
Yeah,
So, how far an LLM degree helpful in independent litigation?
not much.
Sorry,
He
LLM.
is asking the contribution of LLM in independent practice.
Um, I have little contrary opinion to this, because LLM is
Fine.
again a specific area of practice that you choose. If you do that right after college, I feel that it's a very early stage, because it in after practicing you need couple of years, or maybe at least a year, to know exactly what's happening in the ground, and to develop that focus on the area that you are interested in. That only happens once you are in the practice. So going for LLM is no harm. You can go for LLM. It's a great way to meet new people, socialize, build a network. But doing it right after graduation is something that I defer, because it's a very early stage. You have to know what exactly happens in the ground, and only then you can take a decision as to what interests you, which area interests you the most. So yes, I would advise that you can go for LLM, but when you go for LLM is subjective. It's really, it depends on from person to person.
Great. Vaibhav, does that answer your query? Sorry, Gaurav. Gaurav.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. If you would have asked the same question from Raman or Sarna, he would have told you LLM is like a lifeline, Gaurav. You should only take it when you are at a very critical stage of your career, and like you are not getting more clients or you are suffering with this and that.
See, because one thing, as we discussed during this discussion, the pitfalls about, and one worrisome thing about litigation is
Yeah.
specifically litigation, that in the initial years of practice you don't have enough funds to take care of the survival. So if you're talking about the survival strategy of a litigation lawyer, or building your own practice as your own counsel practice, or maybe building your own firm, or coming across your own name, then going for LLM is only possible once you are getting decent scholarships. If you are, then you can go for it. If And secondly, I would say that it's very important to know what kind of area you actually want to specialize in, and that doesn't happen once you just graduate. When you just come out of college, it's a very early stage to actually know what you want to do.
Great answer. Very, very well articulated, very precise.
Yeah.
So next question, yeah,
Anubhav.
this guy.
Yeah, Anubhav, Sandeep here.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Tanvi ma'am, and good afternoon, Anubhav. Uh, Ma'am, first of all, hello.
Yeah, we are audible. You're audible. Please go on.
All right. First of all, I would like to thank Advocate Tanvi ma'am from the bottom of my heart. She shared great insights, and today I met her for the first time on the webinar, but I have been following all her advices. To be very honest with you, I have been practicing independently for the last 2.5 years. I completed my law degree in 2017,
Okay.
and I have taken up cases related to Maharashtra. I'm practicing with Bombay High Court, public trust matters, civil litigation, criminal litigation, family laws, um, of course, arbitration. A number of them I have done. I've been doing it, and it has given me great insights into various types of law. Plus, I have enrolled with multiple courses with LawSikho. For example, NCLT, IBC, etc. That also helping me to a great extent. I have a question for ma'am. I would like to, I have already set up a small law firm startup with 3 of my associate advocates. So I would like to take it to the next level. If you can give us some, give me some ideas by which I can take it to the next level. One more thing here I would like to add. I mean, age-wise, I'm very, high, on the highest side. I'm already 50. But as you said, there is no age bar in your, webinar. I really liked it, so I'm taking it as per your advice. But still, since you are into so much of, great litigation career, so I would like to hear from you.
It is ma'am's fan following that is speaking.
No, nothing. I'm very thankful, Sandeep, for your kind words. And it's credible to know that you've started your own practice and you have your own law firm. And I agree to the point that it's never too late in this career and profession. Since you've spoken about the road forward or the way forward, I would suggest you that engage in kind of visibility to be developed for your law firm, because that's very important. Once you have build a name for yourself or your law firm, the practice area you're working upon, maybe bring that in focus, the judgments that you're getting in your favor, maybe let people aware of it, that this is the law that has been recently upheld by the court and you've worked on it. So that initial that building of your name is very important, and recognition by the people, it's very important. So it's very important for the people to know that this is the firm that exists, and that only begins with a smaller steps, like smallest ones, like just maybe posting on your Facebook that this is the case that I worked on. So maybe 5 people would be aware of it, and that follows the chain. So, yeah, be active on your LinkedIn forums, create a website of your law firm.
Precisely.
You can even go for these research portals on your law firm, publish your research articles that this is the recent matter that your firm has worked on, and these are the propositions that you came across, and maybe you feel it relevant to share it with other people. So yes, all that visibility is required if you want to build your firm's name in the initial years.
Yeah, actually, this is one area where I was lacking. So I have already taken a decision during this lockdown to, create a strong web presence where I do not have any presence so far. But another thing, what you suggested nicely, networking has helped me to a great extent. I mean, without having a web presence, I'm getting very good number of clients, referred clients, thanks to my networking ability. I've been networking with a number of advocates, people in my circle, plus along with my clients also, I've been very good to them. So they have started referring a very good number of people. Plus, I've got them good results. I have taken the most complicated cases I have taken, which like people normally wouldn't take up. No, I mean, there is a misunderstanding amongst advocates that if you take up a complicated case and you lose it, you might, not make a good name for yourself. But I have not, stepped back over there. In fact, I have said, okay, I will take it up and I will see to it that I get to some, relief, and I have been able to do it. So I am
So I
following.
would say that if you look at the landmark judgments like privacy, Aadhaar, any landmark judgment, it's not that the opponent's view is not taken into consideration. It's the same way highlighted as the other view. So I feel that it's a very good step on your part. Wish you all the best, and hope to hear your firm's name very soon on the limelight.
Thank you so much for your good wishes. I too wish you great, development in your career. And thank you, Anubhav, for arranging such a great seminar. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all ours. So very rightly pointed out by ma'am that your network is your net worth. She mentioned that during her internship, one thing leads to another. She interned with Jethmalani sir. From there, she connected with all the top lawyers, solicitor generals, and chief justice of India and other Supreme Court judges. And there she scored internship. So networking on the basis of merit is indispensable in the career of law. Okay. So one more question, people.
Anubhav, I'm sorry. I have one last question for Tanvi ma'am. Ma'am, I am facing one difficulty in my law firm, that is getting good, advocate. That is the more, and especially a dedicated one who are ready
I
to
have
work
one question.
without looking at the clock. That is my biggest challenge so
Yeah.
far.
The Arvind Jain sir, yes sir.
Sorry, we lost Sandeep in between.
Anubhav, I
Yeah.
asked.
Sorry.
I'm sorry,
Actually, yeah.
Ma'am, Tanvi ma'am, I have one challenge, that is, getting good lawyers for associates for my firm. Dedicated meaning people nowadays I see they have a tendency of 9 to 5, just like a government office job. So I'm not getting that. There I'm lacking. You can please give some advice on that.
Right. I feel that I've personally experienced that you should give chance to the freshers. So because you these days kids are so well acquainted with the law because or this 5 year law course is so rigorous. Once they graduate, they know everything about the procedure. So rather than focusing on the experienced lot, you should also give and consider giving chance to the freshers coming right after college or maybe having a year or two experience. So that will help you, and that will also help them put in a word for you in their circle, even if they leave your law firm. So yes, that's something that will help you, giving the
Surely, ma'am. Thank you so much.
brains. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Arvind Jain sir, you had a question.
Yeah, thank you so much. To start a fresh litigation practice, what is the financial investment a person has to look for?
I was about to ask this question. You posted it on YouTube live stream, na?
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
It's a pertinent question in litigation, as we already discussed in this session, that it's a very big challenge. There's no money in the initial years of practice, and which is where a lawyer has to devise his own survival strategy for those initial years. So, as far as the funding is concerned, I would focus on the initial areas where a person has to keep in mind that okay, you have to involve investment in these areas. Firstly, you have to have an office space, you have to have like a regular office staff. From the scratch. I mean, joining an office is totally different from having your independent practice. So from preparation of the brief to every minutest task, you have to take care of that investment. So that is something that has to be looked upon while starting your independent practice, or while just thinking of going for an independent practice. And investment, of course, varies from a person to person. A person can go for like a 1 crore rent office also, and maybe a 5,000 rent also. So that totally depends on the capacity of a person to invest. But these are the areas where the investment is required. You have to
So
have
on a moderate scale, what is the figure you would peg at?
See, this, as I suggested, it's a very it
Subjective.
really depends on from person to person and the kind of investment one would seek and one would want to go for. But you have to take care of the initial years, and I would say foresee the coming 5 years. You have to have like in your head or in your account, you have to have that much balance that you can, if even if you don't earn anything in coming 2 years, so there's no harm. And
Okay.
if you have to have like an idea even of a 5 year bracket, that okay, I can manage my 5 years very well, given this amount of these much clients and these many briefs, I can manage at least 5 years. So
No,
that
5 years
is.
would be too long. At least 2 years is understandable. Thank you so much, ma'am. Yeah.
So yeah, speaking in terms of money, 2 years is okay. But speaking in terms of client, at least you should have a rough figure in mind that this is a client that I have at least for 5 years, or maybe, I mean, I'm giving like a broader picture. But in terms of clientele, you must have couple of clients to take care of initial few years.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So I have to now ask Tanvi ma'am that whether we can take more questions or not. So ma'am, can we entertain some more questions, or shall we?
Yeah, I
Uh,
think we can. Although we've, I think, crossed up in our
yeah.
bracket, but yeah, we can.
Yeah. Oppo F5. Yeah. Oppo F5.
Hi, Tanvi ma'am. This is Gitika here. I'm also practicing Bombay and in and out. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I my sanat is actually of 2014, and I have been practicing since last 4 years. But frankly speaking, I have not been given a broader experience, like where have been practicing and all that. So I am in between. Should I continue with the practicing? I mean, I take my independent matters as well, but still, there is somewhere, I'm not satisfied monetarily as far as the work. So should I, and I have a LL.M degree as well, I'm a BCom graduate. Should I shift to a corporate practice, or should I wait for some more time that, might be in coming years it would much become better? So I'm a bit confused in between. If you can give with respect to experience, I think I can ask you the same.
right. So I think 4 years is a very short period to take
Short
this.
period, I understand, but like my sanat is like 6 years down the line, so it's like quite scary. Oh, you have been like 6 years into the profession, no idea. You have been doing research work, I've been doing research work for the government, and I have been doing LLM as well, and other things in between, like which picked up my interest and so on.
Yeah.
See, it largely depends if you're liking the work, if you are liking the profession, or if you're liking litigation, if you're liking the court work, then I would say that give some time to it, because in the initial few years are quite discouraging. It is disheartening at times, but you have to bear with it and maybe go with the flow and engage yourself in other activities, maybe teaching or maybe writing a book, as I said in the session. So
Yes.
but it
Okay.
totally depends if you're liking the work. If you're
I
not,
do like, I mean, being the litigator, I do like, but there is somewhere, I mean, you cannot choose what matters you have. You have to take what comes to you. But at times you want to go for this, you want to go for that. So there is, something which is left in between, I feel. It's not completed yet. I am sure a number of years ahead would make me feel so. I thought I'll just ask a better person for this.
right? No, so I would advise you that if you're liking the work, then why not give it some
A
more time,
chance.
and
Yes, yes.
give it be visible, as I was speaking with many others, that it's very important to be visible in this profession, to be
Correct.
if you are having your independent, if you've chosen to be independent lawyer, or are in the counsel practice, then it's visibility is very important. Engage yourself in writings and all, so that you get a certain kind of involvement. Maybe whatever case you're working on, maybe write a case note on it and you get that published. That also helps you get that involvement in certain kind of activity. So I personally feel that you should give it few more months, or maybe uh, certain time to it, and then take this decision to shift to a totally new practice area.
Yeah, great answer.
Okay. Thank you
Ye-
so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for
Pleasure.
the same.
what was your
Thank you,
name,
ma'am.
ma'am?
Gitika.
Sorry,
Gitika, Gitika.
Thank you,
Silent boxer. Thank you
Gitika.
so much.
Gitika, ma'am. Do you know the most famous lawyers like Ram Jethmalani sir and Harish Salve? We know
Yes,
them for their pro bono work and not for the work which they got paid for. Right,
correct.
right, Tanvi, ma'am.
of
So
course.
it is the time which I believe to be the best to do the pro bono work, and the lawyers to create a brand for themselves, to build an online profile. Like, I can give you thousands of examples like Ashima Mandla, Amish Agarwal. These all people, how they have made their name, and these are young lawyers. Uh, there is no such generation gap between me and them. They have made their brand by doing this pro bono work, writing blogs, keeping their LinkedIn up to date, making a YouTube channel. So these are the practices you can adopt. As I have interviewed so many lawyers, I think I should put it across the platform so that you can get a sense of it.
Yes, yes, sure. Thank you so much for the insights again, Anubhav.
Ma'am, I do have a
Thank
question. Can
Yeah,
I please
Navira.
put
Yeah,
forward?
please,
Yes,
please,
yes,
please.
please, please.
Yeah, ma'am, as a second year student in law, I've just interned mostly in litigation field, and I've not interned in other fields like public policy or in corporate sector. But I do feel that I have a thing for litigation only. It's like I can only see the eye of the fish like Arjuna did, and I don't feel like going for anything else. But people have been suggesting me that since you have not seen what other fields have, you might not come to know what your real interest fall into. So I'm in a dilemma as to which I should take that advice or better go with my litigation a litigation career, making a litigation career.
Okay, it's a very good question. And which year are you in, if I may ask?
Second year,
Ma'am,
same
I'm
as
in
me.
second year, fourth semester.
All right. So, second year, you can have you interned already? You have litigation experience, right?
Yeah, ma'am, I've interned one at Patna High Court and another at Supreme Court and High Court in Delhi.
Okay. It's a good enough experience to actually come to a conclusion to choose any field. So, if you've chosen litigation as your area of practice, or chosen that, I think it's basis this experience. So, there's no harm pursuing it and doing litigation focused internship. Had it been the case that very first year of your college, without even interning anywhere, if this would have been the case, I would advise you to have a little bit of experience and then maybe take this decision. As we discussed in this session, it's very important to spend initial few years in experiencing what exactly that area looks like. But if you kind of have gotten that taste of it and gotten that interest in it, then there's no harm pursuing litigation focused internships while your 3 years of college are left.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. That was like, relieving one confusion that I had since days.
I'm glad to hear. All the best.
Great.
Thank you so much.
So one more question, people, because we have other webinars lined up, so we have to wrap up. So we can entertain one more question if anyone has.
Hello.
Yeah, D.
I've already written it in the chat box. Can you please read it out for her?
Where is the question? You can ask it live now. I have to search it. Yeah. How different corporate wala? Hello. So ma'am, his question is
Yeah.
how corporate litigation is different from independent litigation, and is there a concept of paralegals in corporate or litigation firms in India? Wow.
Okay, so there are of course a specific slot for paralegals in law firm, which the role is specific to research or maybe preparing for a matter, all of that. If you ask about the difference, the first segment of your question that says how different corporate litigation is from independent. In independent litigation, it varies from maybe arbitration to family law to environment law to anything that you get them in the brief of. But the corporate setup is very specific of certain commercial matters, or maybe the certain company commercial matters, corporate disputes that you're being engaged in. So independent litigation is dependent on what your space allows to take the matter off, and your what kind of briefs you're getting. So it's not area specific. Corporate litigation is again very specific to those kind of commercial disputes that you get.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much for your answer. That was a general question. However, I also have a supplementary, very specific question, if you may allow me to ask.
Right.
So, I aspire to become, or I have inclination towards the field of sports law. And like you mentioned, in independent litigation, there cannot be a specific field. I mean, there can be, but then I was wondering if the field of sports law is promising so far as independent litigation is concerned, or should I look forward to getting into corporate to pursue my interest?
No, it is. I think there's a couple of youngsters, couple of colleagues of mine who are doing fabulously well in sports law. And if you have interest in it, then must go ahead with it. There's no harm pursuing something that interests you, so it doesn't actually will remain work for you. It's something that you are interested in, so you must go ahead with it. I personally, that's my opinion. Unlike a corporate setup where you would end up doing everything but not exactly what interests you. So if you have interest in one particular area, then why not go ahead with it? And it's a very few cases that actually come up with that interest that and develop that interest in a particular area while in law school. So if you have developed that interest, if you have that focused approach towards an area, then it's always better to go with it.
Great
But
answer.
you should also be mindful of the fact that in independent practice area, your client would expect you to know everything. So in independent, there's a little different approach that I personally feel is that you have to know about everything. You can choose that particular interest area, but you have to be abreast about all how the other tribunals functions, how the other courts function, what exactly the civil law is. So that you have already gotten a taste in your college years. But while you're practicing also, your client would definitely expect you to know about all of those nitty-gritties and all the laws which I personally examine in all the briefs that I handle, that all the law have some kind of correlation.
This was really helpful, ma'am. Ma'am, however, one problem which I faced with this thing is that I have not been able to find any internship or any avenue where I could, get experience, relevant experience to mold myself in a way so that I can prepare for whatever is there in the field of sports law.
Which year are you in?
I'm a second year student.
All right. Okay.
And so, like, what would you suggest? How should I, and what all opportunities should I avail myself of in order to prepare myself for it? Or what kind of internship should I be doing? Because I don't think there is any specialized law firm or litigation house which provides internships.
See, there you have to look for the councils which are having practice areas and who are actually entertaining these sport law practice in specific city, or also you can look internationally. So if you have exposure with these lawyers, then I feel that that should be a good exposure for you. So you can start with locating which lawyers are doing this kind of work. So there are a couple of youngsters who are doing fabulously well in sports law. So maybe get in touch with them and let them be aware. Even in this lockdown period, I think they'll be happy to. This is a good time to interact with these people and let them be aware that okay, this is my interest area, and and from there you can sort of build that chain and linkage of the opportunities.
Great answer.
Makes sense, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. For your
So with this people, we are running. Yeah. Hello. Tanvi, are you saying something?
Sorry? No. I'm not.
Yeah. So I was just telling you now we have to.
You have entered 2 hour session now.
Precisely. So we have other webinars lined up. I would have loved to take the discussion furthermore, but we have time constraints. Sorry, you guys, please understand. So with this, one request is I would like you people to rate this session on a scale of 1 to 5 in the chat box. So if you guys can do that, 1 being the high lowest and 5 being the highest. People feedback. 5. Okay.
I think a lot of people have dropped now. They're only
We had 150 people around. Most of them have left after their queries got cleared. But okay, let us listen to the people who have stayed. Okay. Okay. So a mixed feedback of 5, 4, and 3. Mainly 5. There is 1, 3, and 1, 4. So okay, thank you so much for your feedback, people. I know that I sometimes make it a pushover regarding some questions, but it's my job, so can't be helped. So, and also thank you so much, Tanvi ma'am, for sparing us some time from your busy schedule, despite having a lot of work with you, and despite being occupied with clients' queries and everything. And I also thank every attendee who has stayed even this long. These are the people who are genuinely interested. So I really love these 22 people are the cream. So yeah. So with this,
thank you everyone, and I really congratulate LawSikho for these endeavors, because it's a practical platform where this question answer session is a must, and it adds a lot of value. And if I'm very sorry if I'm left with anyone's query, but you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or you can even email me your query on tanvi.dubey78@gmail.com. I'll just
can you type that in the chat box?
I'll just write my email. So you can email me. I'm quite responsive on email, so I can get back. Or you can, of course, get connected on Facebook Messenger. Also, I keep seeing that. So I don't know. I think some difficulty in sending this.
Tanvi dot.
I'm not able to send this. It says.
Let them dictate it to me. I will type it in the chat box.
I'm just sending this to everyone. Yeah. So you can send an email to me. I'll be responsive on this. And I feel that these 5 years of law school are very critical, very crucial. You should, but it doesn't, I mean, you should also enjoy these 5 years, maybe entertain in best. And also I feel that these moot court teams have the greatest fun while they go to different cities, while they entertain in competition. It becomes like a real court when you are in these competitions. So it's not like a tough fight that you have, or a tough schedule that you follow. And don't make that a part of your that boredom, or don't make that a part of something that you have to do. So but that's also something, just make that funny ways to make that interesting. So all the best to all of you guys.
Great. Okay, people. So with this, it's time for us to bid you adieu. Break a leg, people. Great. Have a good day. Thank you so much, ma'am. Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks.